Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa, Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Mahārāja, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 4, The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 23, Text 16. Kanihaka se dravam toye yatastanam vibhagasa chitim ambhasi tatejas yadhoya vayo nabhasyamam. In this way, according to the different positions of the various parts of the body, Pṛthu Maharaj merged the holes of his senses with the sky, his bodily liquids such as blood and various secretions with the totality of water, and he merged earth with water, then water with fire, fire with air, air with sky, and so on. Dandavat Pranam Aditi Nanda Prabhu.
Aye.
Purport. In this verse, two words are very important. Yatasthanam vibhagasa. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, 5th chapter, Lord Brahma clearly explained to Narada how the creation took place, and he explained one step after another the proper divisions of the senses, the controller of the senses, the objects of the senses, and the material elements. And he also explained how they are created one after another. The air from the sky from the air, the water, the air from the sky, the fire from the air, the water from the fire, the earth from the water, fire from the water, and the earth from the water, etc. It is important to know thoroughly the process of creation as it applies to this cosmic manifestation. Similarly, this body is also created according to the same process by the Supreme Lord. The personality of Godhead, after entering the universe, creates the cosmic manifestations one after another. Similarly, the living entity, after entering a womb of a mother, also collects his gross and subtle bodies, taking ingredients from the totality of sky, air, fire, water, and earth. The words yatasthanam vibhagasa indicate that one should know the process of creation and should meditate upon the creative process inversely, and thus become free from material contamination. Text 17. Indriyeshu manasthani tanmatreshu yathodbhavam Bhutadinhamunyat Krisya Mathyatmani Sandhadahe. He amalgamated the mind with the senses, and the senses with the sense objects, according to their respective positions. And he also amalgamated the material ego with the total material energy, Mahatattva. Purport. In respect to the ego, the total material energy is sundered in two parts, one agitated by the mode of ignorance, and the other agitated by the mode of passion and goodness. Due to the agitation by the mode of ignorance, 5 gross elements are created. Due to agitation by the mode of passion, the mind is created. And due to agitation by the mode of goodness, false egoism or identification with matter is created. The mind is protected by a particular type of demigod. Sometimes the mind, mana, is also understood to have a controlling deity or demigod. In this way, the total mind, namely the material mind controlled by material demigods, was amalgamated with the senses. The senses, in turn, were amalgamated with sense objects. The sense objects are forms, tastes, smells, sounds, etc. Sound is the ultimate source of the sense objects. The mind was attracted by the senses and the senses by the sense objects, and all of them were ultimately amalgamated in the sky. The creation is so arranged that cause and effect follow one after the other. The merging process involves amalgamating the effect with the original cause. Since the ultimate cause in the material world is Mahatattva, everything was gradually wound up and amalgamated with the Mahatattva. This may be compared to Sunyavad or voidism, but this is the process for cleansing the real spiritual mind or consciousness. When the mind is completely washed of all material contamination, the pure consciousness acts. The sound vibration from the spiritual sky can automatically cleanse all material contaminations, as confirmed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Cheto Dharpana Marjanam. We need only take the advice of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and chant the Hare Krishna mantra to cleanse the mind of all material contamination, and this may be considered the summary of this difficult verse. As soon as the whole material contamination is washed away by this process of chanting, all desires and reactions to material activities become immediately vanquished, and real life, peaceful existence begins. In this age of Kali, it is very difficult to adopt the yogic process mentioned in this verse. Unless one is very expert in such yoga, the best course is to adopt the ways and means of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Thus, one can gloriously become freed from all material contamination by the simple process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just as life in this material world has its beginning in material sound, similarly, a spiritual life has its beginning in this spiritual sound vibration. Text 18. Tam sarva guna vinyasam jibhe maya mayen yadat tam chanushayam atmastam asab anushayi puman jnana vairagya viryena swarupasto jahat prabhu. Pṛthu Maharaj then offered the total designation of the living entity unto the supreme controller of illusory energy. Being released from all the designations by which the living entity became entrapped, he became free by knowledge and renunciation, and by the spiritual force of his devotional service. In this way, being situated in his original constitutional position of Krishna consciousness, he gave up this body as a Prabhu, or controller of senses. Purport. As stated in the Vedas, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the source of material energy. Consequently, he is sometimes called Maya, or the Supreme Person, who can create his pastimes through his potency, known as the material energy. The jiva, or the individual living entity, becomes entrapped by the material energy, by the supreme will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita 18.16, we understand Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Pradesharjuna Tishtati Brahmayan Sarvabhutani Yantra Rudhani Mayaya. Ishvar, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is situated within the heart of all conditioned souls, and by his supreme will, the living entity or individual soul gets the facility to lord it over material nature in various types of bodies, which are known as yantra, or the moving vehicle offered by the total material energy, Maya. Although the individual living entity, Jiva, and the Lord are both situated within the material energy, the Lord is directing the movements of the Jiva soul by offering him different types of bodies through the material energy. And thus the living entity is wandering throughout the universes in various forms of bodies and becomes implicated in different situations, partaking of the reactions of fruitive activities. When Pṛthu Maharaj became spiritually powerful by the enhancement of his spiritual knowledge, jnana, and renunciation of material desires, he became a Prabhu, or master of the senses, sometimes called Goswami or Swami. This means that he was no longer controlled by the influence of material energy. When one is strong enough to give up the influence of material energy, he is called Prabhu. In this verse, the word Svarupstaha is also very significant. The real identity of the individual soul lies in understanding or attaining the knowledge that he is eternally a servant of Krishna. This understanding is called Svarupopalabdhi. By culturing devotional service, the devotee gradually comes to understand his actual relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This understanding is one of pure spiritual position and is called Svarupopalabdhi. And when one attains that stage, he can understand how he is related with the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a servant or friend, or as a parent or conjugal lover. This stage of understanding is called Svarupstaha. Pṛthu Maharaj realized this Svarup completely, and it will be clear in the later verses that he personally left this world or his body by riding on a chariot sent from Vaikuntha. In this verse, the word Prabhu is also significant. As stated before, when one is completely self-realized and acts according to that position, he can be called Prabhu. The spiritual master is addressed as Prabhupada because he is a completely self-realized soul. The word Pada means position, or Pada. The word Pada means position, and Prabhupada indicates that he is given the position of Prabhu, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for he acts on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unless one is a Prabhu or controller of the senses, he cannot act as spiritual master, who is authorized by the Supreme Prabhu, or Krishna, Lord Krishna. In his verses praising the spiritual master, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, Sakshadarit Vena Shamasta Shastra Uttas Tata Bhavyata Eva Sadvi. The spiritual master is honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he is the most confidential servitor of the Lord. Thus, Pṛthu Maharaj can also be called Prabhupada, or as described herein, Prabhu. Another question may be raised in this connection. Since Pṛthu Maharaj was a power incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a Shakti Vesha avatar, why did he have to execute the regulative principles in order to become a Prabhu? Because he appeared on this earth as an ideal king, and because it is the duty of the king to instruct the citizens in the execution of devotional service, he followed all the regulative principles of devotional service to teach others, in order to teach others. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Although Krishna himself taught us how to approach Krishna as a devotee. It is said, Apani Achari, Bhakti Shikainu Shabari. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed others in the process of devotional service by setting the example himself through his own personal actions. Similarly, Pṛthu Maharaj, although a Shakti-Vesh avatar incarnation, still behaved exactly as a devotee in order to achieve the position of Prabhu. Furthermore, Svarupstaha means complete liberation. As it is said, Bhagavatam 2.10.6, Hitbhanyata rupam svarupena vyavastiti. When a living entity abandons the activities of Maya and attains the position from which he can execute devotional service, his state is called Svarupstaha, or complete liberation. And thus ends our reading for today. We'll continue from text 19 on Friday. Oh, today's Monday, on Wednesday. Before we close, were there any comments or questions or contributions from the assembled devotees? Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Dev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Srila Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai.
Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees, Sama Bhaktiveda Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Nrsimhapuri Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Jai,
Jai.
Ganga Mayi Yamuna Mayi Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai, Sham Kund Radhakund Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai,
Jai.
Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai,
Jai.
Scientific Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai, Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai, Nittai Gaura Premanandi Hari 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 Bol. Jai Srimati Uma Devi Dasi Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Sripad Nanda Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Jai Gurudev. Dandavats Prabhu, it was nice to see you.
Dandavats Prabhu, yes, absolutely. It's amazing experience every time.
Yes, Bhagavatam is transcendental.
It's incredible, isn't it? You know, if you have questions, go to Srimad Bhagavatam. If you have important questions, you know where to look.
Yes. Jai. Well, we will see you on Wednesday then. Hare
I hope
Krishna.
so. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Jai.